Have you ever had deja vu? Because I'm getting the feeling that we've done this before. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Director's Garage. I am your host and resident idiot, Michael, and today, guys, we're getting back on the electrostatic train with one of the hottest new releases of 2025. It's an episode devoted to E-Stat headphones, and get out your credit card, because just ignore that. What's in this box is gonna cost you. And yeah, the box itself is a pretty good hint, but in fairness, I already know what's in this particular box because this is something that I purchased myself because, well, I'm a big dumb guy who does big dumb things, and this was a deal I simply couldn't pass up. This is a product we've had on this show before, which is what I meant by the whole deja vu of it all, but I think we're about ready here. Should we open this? Why not? Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? And oh my God, we got ourselves a black case. And I think as eagle-eyed viewers of this show, I think you can pretty much deduce what's in this. E-Stat, Audeze. E-Stat, Audeze, but for the sake of posterity, let's open it now. Couple latches, and wow, look what we got, guys. We got an Audeze Carbon 2. Yes, it's the Audeze Carbon 2, or as I like to call them, Kerbin.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, this is a $6,000 dose of E-Stat goodness and a budget-busting over-ear electrostatic that just started shipping last month. Now, if you've been watching all the episodes of the Director's Garage, and why wouldn't you? You would know that back in episode 95, I unboxed the Audeze Carbon 1, and actually this is that headphone, and this is the same headphone case. You see, Audeze has a special program where you can send in your Carbon 1, and for just $1,000, they will wave a magic wand, or magic knife in this case, and presto, Carbon 2. I love when companies do this. They reward those of us who bought into their product early and give us a way to get into the latest and greatest without a full investment of fresh capital. It's so appreciated, especially by me. I also appreciate that Audeze did my revision first, so a shout out to the Audeze team for throwing a little love our way. So what happened to the Carbon 1 when they waved that magic wand? I know, guys, this show's ridiculous, I'm sorry, but well, what they did was they cast away the original driver and replaced it with a similar driver with a thinner membrane. Then they gave this headphone a bath in a copper tank, which is not really, but they just added some copper bling all over the place. The posts for the ear cups and the stitching on the headband, along with this grill right here. You can see they really did a beautiful job of blinging it up, but they added this thin plate between the ear pads and the housing. And if you haven't heard, they gave it an equally ridiculous name. Yeah, SLAM, which is a reverse-engineered acronym for Symmetrical Linear Acoustic Modulator.
What?
And yeah, I met the guy who came up with this ridiculous phrase, and I forgive you, Chris. Okay, guys, if you can't have fun in this hobby, I don't know why you're here. Okay, so this SLAM module is actually a plate that vents to the outside world, and it accomplishes two things. First, it brings more bass response, a typical complaint of many E-Stat headphone users. It's lacking a little booty down there. Well, this is like that bass port that Abyss came out with a few years back for its Diana line. Same principle anyway. And second, more important, it rids the headphone of, wait for it, Stax farts. Apologies in advance for what the post-production team is likely doing with this section, but Stax farts is the street name for what we call driver flex. You see, these drivers don't pass much wind through them. You know I had to go there. So when you put them on your head and you go to seal, the membrane, which carries a charge, gets pushed outward toward the stator, which creates a short. Sonically, this sounds like an electrical zap, both loud and annoying. The original Carbon had this driver flex Stax farts in abundance. Anytime you move the headphone at all, you got a loud zap. Now, they did a revision to lessen this, but they never really rid the Carbon 1 of the issue. Now, this new slam system, well, the slam system has a vent allowing pressure to release to the outside of the headphone as you seat it, eliminating that pressure on the membrane, thus eliminating the Stax fart. Okay, so we've covered the changes in the headphone, but what do you say we put some power to these and give these things a listen? I think it's time to head into a director's garage sound impression. Okay, a couple things. Now, well, first of all, let's do this, because this is one of the most satisfying things you'll ever do in life, and that's take fresh tape off of gorgeous, shiny metal. Oh, it just feels so good. Yeah. And, oh, yeah. Man, I love doing that. So rewarding, so rewarding. Okay, now, I've heard this headphone before, or at least early versions of the headphone, at both CanJam SoCal and earlier this year at the Audeze factory. You see, I set up a visit for my Patreon subscribers. You know I have a Patreon, don't you? Yeah, whatever. Anyway, in early January, we all did a field trip to the Audeze factory, and I think it was unanimous. This Carbon 2 was the best headphone Audeze offered up that day. But let's give these things a listen anyway, because who knows, there may have been late changes for all I know, and I'm going to start with the Grateful Dead. It's kind of a tradition around here, and the album we're going to go for is American Beauty. I have this gorgeous 192 version of it. Let's take a listen. There's definitely more bass representation. That's the first thing you notice, is there's more bass here. What I don't sense is really that concussive bass that I get out of dynamic drivers, where you feel the air getting pushed against your head. And this is similar to what I said about the RAL Amanus 1995, RAL 1995 Amanus. And that's it. I'm getting a lot of bottom end. I'm just not feeling the physicality of the headphone in the way that a dynamic driver will, and that takes a little getting used to. The speed is so good. The picks on the strings, the strumming, the imaging, you know, these are the things that E-Stats excel at, these technical things. Speed, image, soundstage. Although I don't think this soundstage is as big as the SRX 9000, which is interesting. I have to compare them, but this seems like it's a little closer. There's an expansiveness to the SRX 9000 that seems to extend, but this is just a first listen. One of the things that the Carbon did right, and I think continues to do right, actually even better with this version, is how cohesive the sound is. It's a very tightly knit musical headphone. Sometimes the SRX 9000 gets so granular, it splits the different parts out, and you don't appreciate the grander picture of the music. You'll hear, oh, there's the oboes, and there's the cello, and we'll do a classical number later, but you hear the individual pieces, and you don't appreciate the overall sound coming at you. And this headphone does more of that. And this is beautiful. I mean, there's a richness to this that's not present in a lot of other E-Stats. And on that note alone, Audeze has once again succeeded. And it's as good as I remember. Now we're listening through the Ray Samuels B21 Raider in E-Stat mode. And it's a gorgeous, it's got ample power. I'm on low gain. And half volume is really loud. The Blue Hawaii, I had to turn that wide open to get the headphone to play. All right, I think we need to go to something else now. And the artist I'm going to go to is Supertramp. We're going to do some prog rock here. I've been listening to a lot of Supertramp lately, and the album that I'm going to go to is Crime of the Century. I've got this 192 version that's just spectacular. And let's do track number 2. Let's go to Bloody Well Right, because that's just a special number. Oh, yeah. Long intro on this one. Starts out with just the keyboard, reverb. Big hits with horn, bass. Yeah, there is really good bass representation now out of this thing. And it's impressive. It's impressive to see where that E-stats are continuing to evolve. And here comes the... I don't know that I'm going to reach for this to go listen to my AC/DC songs. I think I'm still going to gravitate towards something like The Abyss. But boy, this gives you a different take on what an E-stat can do. And I'm appreciative of that. And it still retains all that speed. It's crisp with that bottom end. This is a special headphone. It's up there. It's up there with the best. And the image on this is spectacular. Anytime something moves a little bit around the soundstage, you really notice it. This is an imaging headphone first. Good drive. This is a perfectly wonderful experience on something that I usually want to go to a dynamic for, or the Sesfara. This is almost a perfect Sesfara thing, and I think this does a really good job of representing it. And we'll do some shootouts down the road and compare these things, and where do they fit in the lineup? I don't know. This is a great headphone. There's no question, though. Okay, we got to get to some jazz here. And it's my favorite genre, and I think for E-stats, it's a must listen. Let's go to Cannonball Adderley, and we're going to call up something else. It's from 1958. This is my favorite Cannonball Adderley album, and we're going to go to Autumn Leaves. This is just one of my favorite jazz recordings of all time. It's got everything. It's got walking bass. It's got beautiful, crisp, tight horns. You got Miles Davis on this, you got Art Blakey, and you've got Cannonball himself on the sax. And they're so tight. So good. Beautiful intro section that just drifts, and now it kicks into the first verse. Little conversation here. Miles on a muted trumpet. It's got such touch. And on the carbon, you can really sense what each musician is doing, how they're playing. You hear the brushes, and you can get that resolution, that fine resolution of the brushes on the head of the skin of the drums. And you can hear Miles' breath on the horn. The touch of the string bass. There's so much that's just beautiful about this recording. And they're all masters. These are the greats. And there's so much emotion in it. It's so cool. But while we're talking about cool, what isn't cool are my ears. These things, they're warm. Now, my room is warm, so maybe that's part of it, but these things carry some heat to them. I have always loved the Carbon's padding. The pads are really good. There is a little bit of a tightness to the clamp, which I'd like to see a little looser maybe, but the pads themselves are so comfortable. This is right up there with some of the more comfortable experiences you'll have. Reminds me a lot of the Meze experience. It's very good. All right, let's do one more. I want to finish up with some classical, and I want to go to the Beethoven's Ninth Symphony. This is George Schulte conducting the Chicago Symphony Orchestra. This is one of my favorite classical recordings of all time. Part of it is sentimental. I lived in Chicago for a long time, and I got to see Sir George conduct this orchestra, and always enjoyable. This is the second movement of Beethoven's Ninth. It's very aggressive, thriving, powerful. This is one of my favorite movements in all of classical music. It gets so grand. Write in the comments below what your favorite version of Beethoven's Ninth is. I'm always looking for a new experience on it. This is one of my favorites, but I'd love to know what other people listen to when it comes to Beethoven's Ninth. This is an absolute classic. And this is an all-digital recording. I remember this when it came out. I had this on CD for a long time. The swells, dynamics. This is where an E-stat really shines. And this one is shining. It's sounding great. It's powerful. And now you've got that extra bottom end to really bring this thing alive and give you some of that oomph. Whereas before, if you're listening on the X9000, it's gorgeous. I mean, it's wider. You get a more sense of the room, but you don't have the grandeur and the swell of the bottom of the orchestra the way you get them here. So this is a huge step forward, I think, and in E-stats, and it's something I'm going to welcome doing. I'm going to stop it here, though, and let's pause and let's talk about this headphone a bit. And first of all, I'm just going to give a kudos to what they did on the construction of this thing. I think they've really elevated an already pretty good design. They clearly retained some of the parts. I would think that this yoke, this material, the carbon fiber up top, certainly the outer shell is the same, and then they probably kept the pads too, with adding this and rebuilding the inside of this thing all the way out to this gorgeous copper colored grill. I love the appointments up here. This is really attractive. I think they've really done an attractive job at redoing it. Some of the complaints are still going to remain, not having a removable cable. But I will say, just listening to them, I have not heard this thing stacks fart, and I'm wondering if I can make it do it. Yeah, I can. If I really pull and wonk them in and out hard, they'll give me that effect. But not as loud though as it was. So they've definitely made a move to improve this headphone fundamentally in a lot of ways, and worthy of a version 2, and I'm glad I got a chance to get this in. So they do a lot of work on these for $1,000, and I got to say that it's probably worth it. If you have the Carbon One, I would say certainly this would be a headphone to go to. Now, is this worth $6,000? Well, that's going to be a question that will take longer to answer, and I want to do a shootout between this and the SRX 9000 to hear what the differences are and which I prefer, and maybe where this headphone might break some ground that the X9000 doesn't, and maybe where the X9000 still retains its supremacy in the E-stat world. At $6,000, you're in the same price range as, say, the Sapphire Unveiled. You can get into any of the top-tier ZMF headphones. You can get into a Yamaha YH-5000. Any Abyss will fall into that range pretty much. So there's a lot of competition at that price point. The question is this in that league? My initial reaction is, well, you've got a electrostatic fast headphone that's delivering great bass response. It's going to be a player. It's going to be a player in this field. Where does it fit? I don't know yet. I want to hear more of these things. I'm impressed with the first listen, but I've heard these before. So they didn't wow me. They didn't change anything from what I had heard before. But that doesn't mean that this isn't really impressive. It's most certainly worth $1,000 plus a Carbon One. That's a no-brainer to get into this. So I think we've got to do a lot more listening, which is not the worst thing in the world to do, to figure out where this headphone falls in my hierarchy of headphones. So lots to love, lots to get excited about the new Carbon 2. I'm thrilled that I got to listen to these and introduce them on the show very early in the product cycle, and my thanks to Audeze for doing that. So that's the Audeze Carbon 2, a $6,000 headphone you can get for just $1,000, guys, if you happen to own the original. I gotta thank Audeze for putting me at the front of the line for this revision, and if you want to purchase this headphone, you can head over to audio46.com, use the coupon code directorsgarage, all one word, knock 5% off the price of this thing, which is actually a lot of money given its hefty price tag. We'll do a shootout of this here Carbon 2 against my other top E-stat in the coming weeks, this Stax SRX 9000. How does this new Carbon stacks up? You see what I did there?
Like, and subscribe to the Director's Garage.
Thank you for stopping by the garage today. Give this episode a thumbs up if you enjoyed this first look at the Audeze Carbon 2, or you can do the other thing if you'd rather I took a bath while wearing these things. I can't say I blame you either way, and I will see you before you know it.
People, can you show me the way to the direct garage? It ain't too far, no it isn't, no it isn't. But I've been searching and searching away.